Gotta get the fuck out of there, man. Like I'm like sick to my fucking stomach. That is fucked up. This is the most fucked up thing I've ever witnessed in my fucking life. I gotta go home and look myself in the mirror after that. I've never done anything so shameful in my life being a part of this. Sorry, guys.
I'm leaving. I'm sorry, America. I was invited. I like the Jew, you know.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand why the Jews get a lot of hate after being here.
What the fuck?
I've never been a part of anything so shameful in my life, and I hate myself, and I feel like less of a man after being here.
Yo, I thought we had a plan.
I need to figure out what the fuck went on, bro. I do. Ray J, obviously what he said after the fight, super hot not throwing a fucking punch, like in the first round. We need to look into that. We need to investigate that. The actual fight wasn't rigged. Like, he knocked Ray J out.
What brought you to Brand Risk 14?
I got invited. It's a great event. It's great content, great people, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're my boy, man. Listen.
Big shout out to Adin Ross. He's the man.
Adin Ross, that's who invited you to the fight?
What was supposed to be another chaotic influencer boxing event has now turned into one of the most talked about controversies on the internet. During Adin Ross's latest Brand Risk event, fans tuned in expecting wild matchups, celebrity appearances, and plenty of viral moments. What they got instead was a night packed with strange incidents, heated reactions, and a fight that has people questioning what really happened behind the scenes. Things got even more interesting when MMA star Sean Strickland publicly criticized the event before eventually walking away from it altogether. Then came the matchup between Super Hotfire and Ray J, a fight that seemed fairly normal at first, but quickly exploded into controversy after comments made immediately following the final bell. Now, viewers are picking apart every moment, searching for answers and debating whether there is more to the story than meets the eye. So what actually happened that night, and why are so many people still talking about it? Let's break it all down and take a closer look at the moments that sparked the controversy. Before diving into the claims about the fight being fixed, there's another moment from the event that deserves some attention. One of the commentators for the night was Sean Strickland, the well-known MMA fighter who always seems to divide opinions. Some fans respect his no-filter attitude, while others strongly disagree with him. But one thing is certain, he rarely holds back what he thinks. During the event, the atmosphere shifted when Strickland suddenly decided to walk out. He openly criticized what was happening, calling the situation embarrassing and making it clear he was not happy with how things were unfolding. His reaction quickly became a major talking point online.
Yo, I thought we had a plan.
It was a huge reaction, and people definitely noticed it. Before getting deeper into the controversy, it's worth looking at that moment closely and paying attention to how Sean Strickland acted throughout the broadcast. The way he carried himself, the comments he made, and the tone in his voice added a whole extra layer to the story. As the event moved forward, Strickland's frustration became harder and harder to ignore. You could hear it every time he spoke and see it in the way he reacted to what was happening around him. He didn't seem interested in putting on a polished performance or softening his opinions for the audience. Instead, he kept things direct and called situations exactly as he saw them. At several points, his commentary felt like more than simple fight analysis. It came across as someone who was genuinely irritated by what was unfolding in front of him. With each fight, that tension appeared to grow stronger, and viewers started noticing that his patience seemed to be running out. Eventually, everything reached a breaking point. Then, almost out of nowhere, Strickland decided to step away, making it clear he no longer wanted to be involved. That exit became one of the biggest talking points of the night, especially when people started comparing it to everything else that happened during the event. Before we get into that, if you're new here, consider subscribing. It really does make a difference. And if you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like as well. That extra support helps the video reach more people and keeps the channel growing. No matter what, thanks for tuning in and spending some time here watching. Now this next part jumps around the timeline a little, but it provides important context for everything that followed. As the event went on, things started getting noticeably stranger. In one moment that caught a lot of attention, organizers brought out a person dressed as a lookalike resembling Jeffrey Epstein, which immediately sparked reactions from viewers. As if that wasn't unusual enough, a Diddy lookalike was also added to the show, making an already chaotic event feel even more bizarre and unpredictable. When you look at those moments, Sean Strickland's reaction starts to make a lot more sense. Watching everything unfold in real time clearly seemed to bother him. At one point, he openly said, "I gotta go home and look myself in the mirror. God, I hate myself. This might be the most shameful thing I've ever partaken in." That wasn't a small complaint or a passing remark. It sounded like someone who was completely frustrated with the situation and deeply uncomfortable with being involved in what was happening around him.
What brought you to Brand Risk 14?
I got invited. It's a great event. It's great content, great people, and a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're my boy, man. Listen,
Wait, big shout out to Adin Ross. He's the man.
Adin Ross, that's who invited you to the fight? Okay. Yeah, man, I'm just gonna keep it real. You were caught. We own your ass, and you, and
Real.
let's cut the camera back to Adin. When, how is the island sold or?
All right, Sean, what do you think about that, Sean?
I was asking if you ever feel shame. I got to go home and look myself in the mirror. I really, it's hard, bro.
Sean, do you want to wear it?
I'm not wearing fucking clothes, dude.
Yo, Sean's a big fan of that Epstein guy. He told me.
Yo, who wants
Oh,
it?
yeah. There's only one pedophile who ain't me.
Here.
Yeah. But the Jew was the one that probably filmed
Yeah,
it.
he loves.
What are you talking about? Ah!
God, I hate myself. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The most shameful thing.
This is probably the most shameful thing I've ever done in my entire life.
All right, now look at no neck. Ready?
Sorry, America.
He's got no neck.
Bro, where do you
Nobody can
find
choke
these
himself.
fuckers, dude?
Now, to be fair, it's not hard to understand where Sean Strickland was coming from, at least to some degree. A lot of the moments that came out of this event felt unusual and at times seemed to focus more on entertainment and shock value than traditional competition. There were several segments that added to the over-the-top atmosphere, including one where people of shorter stature participated in a boxing match. Moments like that contributed to the feeling that the event was leaning heavily into spectacle rather than presenting itself as a standard fight card. Of course, reactions to that kind of content are going to vary. Some viewers enjoy the unpredictability and wild energy that comes with these events, and there's clearly an audience for it. Others, however, see things differently and feel uncomfortable with some of the choices made throughout the show. Looking at it from that perspective, it becomes easier to see why Strickland was so critical. He appeared to view the entire event through a very different lens. In other clips, he even described the atmosphere as feeling like a circus, which gives a pretty clear idea of how he saw the night. Judging by his comments and reactions, that growing frustration seemed to eventually push him to his breaking point. In the middle of all the chaos, Sean Strickland reportedly decided to walk out of the event. Not long afterward, he took to social media. Reports pointed to either Instagram or Snapchat, and shared posts expressing how frustrated and disappointed he felt about being involved in the first place. His comments made it clear that the experience had left a strong impression on him.
I've never been a part of anything so shameful in my life, and I hate myself, and I feel like less of a man after being here. Oh God, why did I agree to this?
I gotta get the fuck out of there, man. Like I'm like sick to my fucking stomach. That is fucked up. This is the most fucked up thing I've ever witnessed in my fucking life. I gotta go home and look myself in the mirror after that. I've never done anything so shameful in my life being a part of this. Sorry, guys. Just try to hide with a friend. Next thing you know, your dignity is gone.
Considering how openly frustrated Sean Strickland seemed, not just with the event itself, but with the fact that he was part of it, you might expect him to keep a lower profile while working commentary. Most people would probably assume he would stay more reserved, avoid drawing attention, and keep his opinions toned down. But that is not how things played out at all. Instead, Strickland remained outspoken, blunt, and completely unfiltered throughout the broadcast. No matter what was happening around him, he continued to say exactly what was on his mind, and that attitude quickly became one of the biggest talking points of the night. One moment in particular really stood out. Following a fight, one of the competitors shared a personal message saying, "Hey, my grandma had passed away." It was a serious and emotional moment, the kind of situation where viewers would typically expect a thoughtful response. However, Strickland's reaction on commentary immediately shifted the mood. The contrast was hard to miss and caught many people off guard, especially given everything he had already said about how unhappy he was with the event as a whole.
Mom passed away a couple of days ago. I did this for her. And this means the world to me. I thank God, thank everyone.
And the guy with the dead grandmother, bro, what an embarrassment. Your mom, your grandma was looking down.
Bro!
So sad.
He's gonna finish. Oh! He's gonna finish him.
You do it! What the fuck?
I'm just saying, dude, if you were that kid's grandmother looking down, what are you thinking, dog?
All right, let's get on with the halftime performance.
Sad, dude.
Adin, you did ask him to be up here, okay?
Bring out the titties.
Holy shit, man.
At this point, it's probably reasonable to assume that these feelings didn't appear out of nowhere for Sean Strickland. From the outside looking in, it seemed like the frustration and discomfort had been building throughout the night rather than being triggered by a single moment. With each segment and fight, that tension appeared to grow stronger until it started showing in his comments and reactions. There are actually quite a few examples that seem to support that idea. If you search Strickland's name on X, you'll find plenty of clips from the same event that people have been discussing. Still, there's no need to go through every single one. The moments already covered paint a pretty strong picture on their own. That said, there's one more clip worth looking at because it really helps tie everything together. When you put it alongside everything else that happened during the night, it becomes much easier to understand why his commentary and eventual exit drew so much attention.
Leaving. I'm sorry, America. I was invited. I like the Jew, you know.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand why the Jews get a lot of hate after being here.
What the fuck? Stand him up.
It is a good guy.
I like that.
Yo!
At the end of the day, this type of entertainment is going to divide opinions, and I'm definitely interested in hearing what you think about it. Some viewers loved the chaos and unpredictability, while others walked away feeling like the event went too far in certain areas. Looking at Sean Strickland's reaction, there's one detail that stands out. On one side, he was openly criticizing the event, calling it embarrassing and saying he felt ashamed to be involved. On the other side, the way he acted throughout the broadcast didn't always seem to fully match that message. To some viewers, there appeared to be a disconnect between his behavior during the event and the comments he made afterward. That contrast has sparked plenty of discussion online. Some people see it as frustration that built up over time, while others question whether his stance changed as the night went on. Either way, the difference between his actions and his later remarks has become a story of its own. But even with all of that debate, it wasn't the most controversial topic to come out of the event. The biggest questions started surrounding the fight between Super Hotfire and Ray J. What looked like a standard influencer boxing matchup at first quickly turned into one of the most talked about moments of the entire night, and that's where the controversy really started gaining momentum. Two recognizable names, plenty of attention, and a crowd ready to see how it would all play out. On the surface, the matchup between Super Hotfire and Ray J looked like another major attraction on the card. At first, the fight didn't appear especially unusual. There were exchanges, movement around the ring, and several moments that looked like a competitive back-and-forth battle. But the longer some viewers watched, the more questions started popping up. Certain sequences seemed unusually smooth or convenient to critics, leading some people to wonder if everything was exactly as it appeared. While opinions varied, the match quickly became a topic of debate online. Then came the moment that completely changed the conversation. As soon as the fight ended, while both men were still standing in the ring, Ray J began speaking, and his comments immediately grabbed everyone's attention. The way he delivered his remarks sparked intense speculation, with many viewers questioning the legitimacy of the matchup because it sounded to them like he was suggesting the fight had been planned in advance. One of the first moments that got viewers talking happened almost immediately after the fight began. During the opening round, Super Hotfire did not throw a punch at Ray J. That detail stood out to a lot of people because it felt unusual for a boxing match, and some viewers started questioning what they were watching right from the start. Then the second round arrived, and the pace changed dramatically. Super Hotfire suddenly became much more aggressive and ended up scoring a knockout over Ray J. The shift between the first and second rounds was so sudden that it caught many people by surprise and quickly became a major topic of discussion online. However, the biggest questions didn't come from the fight itself. They came afterward. During the post-fight interview, when both fighters were given the chance to speak on the microphone, Ray J appeared noticeably frustrated. His demeanor immediately grabbed attention because he didn't seem like someone who was simply disappointed by a loss. Instead, many viewers felt there was something else bothering him. The way he spoke, his expressions, and the overall tension of the moment led to even more speculation. Some people believed he was trying to get a point across but wasn't fully explaining what he meant. Whether that interpretation is accurate or not, the atmosphere felt awkward enough to spark a wave of discussion, making an already controversial matchup seem even more questionable in the eyes of viewers. Let me show you.
Yo, I thought we had a plan. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but damn, my nigga. We took a L tonight.
No, we didn't take shit. Your ass was over here.
I gotta talk to the nigga about.
Y'all talk backstage. Super.
Money we lost.
We didn't think you was gonna win. So how y'all lost money?
Wow.
Hey, I ain't gonna. That's a good method though. If I got my ass knocked out, I'd be like, nigga, you fucked up. Look at that.
I can't see it, my nigga.
You got one of them cartoon lumps. You know when.
As you heard in that clip, Ray J seemed to be choosing his words very carefully, but his comments still caught a lot of attention. While people may interpret them differently, the remarks immediately sparked questions among viewers watching the post-fight exchange. He said, "I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get people in trouble, but I need to talk to him." That statement alone got people talking because it hinted that there might be more going on behind the scenes. Then, early in the conversation, he added, "I thought we had a plan." That was the moment that really turned heads. For many viewers, hearing a comment like that right after a fight felt unusual and instantly fueled speculation. Rather than sounding like a typical reaction to a loss, the statement led people to question what exactly he meant and whether there was more to the story than what had happened inside the ring. So many viewers, those comments sounded like there may have been certain expectations going into the fight before it even started. Later in the clip, there's another remark that people quickly focused on. If you listen closely, Ray J appears to say, "Do you know how much money we just lost?" That line added an entirely new layer to the discussion because it shifted attention beyond the fight itself and toward possible financial implications tied to whatever he was referring to. Even the interviewer seemed to notice the awkward tension in the moment. While joking about the noticeable bump on Ray J's head, he responded, "We? No, you lost." The comment got a reaction, but it also drew even more attention to what Ray J had just said. When viewers started putting all of these moments together, speculation spread rapidly online. Some people believed the comments suggested there had been an understanding behind the scenes that didn't unfold the way Ray J expected. Others argued there wasn't enough information to know exactly what he meant. Either way, the remarks fueled a huge debate. That's why this clip gained so much traction so quickly. People weren't just talking about an unusual fight anymore, they were analyzing every detail. Between the quiet first round, the sudden knockout in the second, and Ray J's post-fight comments about a plan, many viewers felt the sequence of events was raising more questions than answers and creating a very specific narrative online. Of course, it's important to remember that none of these claims have been officially confirmed. At this point, much of the discussion is based on viewer reactions, interpretations, and the comments that were made after the fight. Still, from an outside perspective, it's not difficult to understand why so many people started asking questions and debating whether there was more to the story than what appeared in the ring. That's also why this situation became a much bigger topic than a typical influencer boxing match. If viewers believe a fight was influenced in some way, or that expectations existed behind the scenes, the conversation quickly shifts beyond simple entertainment. Suddenly, people start discussing issues involving credibility, competition, and the role money may have played in the situation. Those are the kinds of questions that turn a strange moment into a major controversy. When people look back at everything that happened, they often point to several moments that fueled the speculation. One of the biggest examples was Super Hotfire not throwing a single punch during the opening round, which immediately caught viewers' attention. From there, some online theories suggested that the sudden change in the second round may have been connected to concerns about how the fight was being perceived. Whether those theories are accurate or not remains unclear, but they've become a major part of the discussion surrounding the event. Some viewers have even suggested that Super Hotfire may have simply decided to do things his own way once the fight was underway. Others have floated different theories online, including ideas about personal financial motives or decisions that Ray J may not have been aware of. It's important to stress that these are only theories from viewers and have not been verified, but they show just how many different explanations people are debating right now. The discussion also extends beyond just the two fighters. A lot of people have been asking whether anyone else involved with the event knew about any alleged plans or expectations behind the scenes, if such plans even existed in the first place. Those questions have only added more attention to the controversy. Following the event, Adin Ross addressed the situation during a live stream, saying he was looking into what happened and trying to determine exactly what took place between Ray J and Super Hotfire. Looking at Adin Ross's response, it's possible to understand the reasoning behind what he was saying. From his perspective, there are plenty of reasons to want clear answers about what happened, especially considering he hosted the event and has a lot connected to its outcome. At the same time, some viewers have pointed out that it can be difficult to view the situation as completely detached when so much is tied to the event itself. There's the reputation of the show, the audience's trust, future events, and the overall success of the brand. Because of that, many people have been carefully analyzing every statement made after the controversy began. Adin's argument, as some viewers interpreted it, was that because Super Hotfire ended up winning the fight, that alone would suggest the match was not fixed. However, critics of that position argue that this doesn't fully address the concerns being raised online. The debate isn't necessarily centered on who won or lost. Instead, many people are focused on the comments made after the fight, the unusual sequence of events, and whether there may have been expectations that differed from what actually happened. That distinction is why the discussion has continued long after the final bell rang. For many viewers, Ray J's reaction is one of the biggest reasons the controversy has continued. Based on his comments and body language, some people felt he seemed surprised by how everything unfolded. To those viewers, it appeared as though the result, or at least some aspect of the fight, did not match what he expected going into the matchup. That's why the debate goes beyond simply asking who won or lost. The bigger question being discussed online is whether there were any expectations, understandings, or plans that differed from what ultimately happened inside the ring. It's important to note that there is no official confirmation of that, but the possibility is what has kept people talking. If there had been some kind of prior understanding and events unfolded differently than expected, then the situation becomes far more complicated than a standard post-fight disagreement. That possibility is what has fueled so much speculation and caused viewers to revisit the footage repeatedly, looking for clues that might explain the comments made afterward. It also helps explain why so many people focused on the atmosphere immediately following the knockout. Rather than reacting like someone who had simply lost a fight, Ray J appeared frustrated and caught off guard in the eyes of many viewers. Some interpreted that as evidence that something unexpected had happened. Meanwhile, Super Hotfire has remained relatively quiet compared to the amount of discussion surrounding the matchup, and that silence has only added another layer of curiosity to an already controversial situation. There was no immediate explanation, no detailed clarification, and no quick response that seemed to settle the questions people had. Instead, viewers were left trying to make sense of the situation on their own. That lack of clear answers, combined with everything that had already happened, helped keep the speculation alive and gave people even more reasons to keep discussing the fight online. When reactions appear unusual or don't line up with what viewers expect, people naturally start asking questions. That's exactly what happened here. The post-fight comments, the body language, and the overall atmosphere left many viewers feeling like there was still a missing piece to the story. At the same time, it's important to remember that nobody outside the people directly involved knows exactly what was said, expected, or understood before the fight.
What the fuck went on, bro? I do. Ray J, obviously what he said after the fight, super hot not throwing a fucking punch, like in the first round. We need to look into that. We need to investigate that. Super hot has been nothing but a great fighter, and he's been great. And Super looked like himself in the second round. Now, do I know why Ray J said what he said? No, I don't. And we're gonna figure it out. Jordan and I are taking it very seriously. We don't like that shit. It wasn't, the actual fight wasn't rigged. Like, he knocked Ray J out. He might have been like, oh, bro, like, we were supposed to spend money. If Super got knocked the fuck out, or if Super lost, that would have been a different discussion, but Ray J got knocked out. So technically the fight wasn't fucking with people's money, because Ray J did knock him the fuck out when supposedly, oh, you weren't supposed to do that, bro. We took a loss that night. So that's my whole point.
That uncertainty is a major reason why the debate has continued. Once the possibility of behind-the-scenes expectations enters the conversation, it can change how people interpret everything they watched inside the ring. Some viewers have even wondered whether expectations alone could influence the way a fighter approaches a matchup. For example, if someone believed a fight would unfold in a certain way, that belief could potentially affect their strategy, focus, or reactions during key moments. Of course, there's no evidence proving that happened here, but it's one of the theories people have been discussing. That's what makes the knockout such a heavily debated moment. Some viewers believe it was simply a legitimate outcome that's being overanalyzed, while others think the post-fight comments raise additional questions. Until more information becomes available, the debate largely comes down to interpretation, which is why the controversy continues to generate so much attention online. That's where things become difficult to separate clearly. Once the idea of a possible plan enters the conversation, the focus shifts away from pure competition and starts moving toward questions about expectations, motives, and what may or may not have been happening behind the scenes. For many viewers, that is the real issue at the center of the controversy. It's not just about who won the fight or how the knockout happened, it's about whether people feel confident in what they watched. When doubts begin to surface, every part of the matchup suddenly gets examined much more closely. That's exactly what has happened here. Moments that may have seemed ordinary at first are now being replayed and analyzed from every angle. Viewers have revisited the quiet opening round, the dramatic change in the second round, and the comments made after the fight, all while trying to determine whether there is any deeper meaning behind those events. Whether those suspicions are justified or not, the perception alone can have a major impact. Once people start questioning a fight's legitimacy, it becomes much harder to separate facts from theories. That uncertainty is why the discussion has expanded beyond just one matchup. Now, the conversation is also touching on the event as a whole, the way it was presented, the type of entertainment it aimed to provide, and whether moments like this affect how seriously viewers take future events. That broader debate is a big reason the controversy continues to attract so much attention online. Because once even a single fight becomes the subject of this much speculation, people naturally start looking at the rest of the event differently. Viewers begin asking bigger questions about what was genuine competition, what was entertainment, and whether everything unfolded the way it appeared on screen. Once those doubts start circulating, they tend to stick around for a long time. That's also why some people weren't fully convinced by Adin Ross's response. His argument, as many interpreted it, was essentially that if events didn't play out the way someone supposedly expected, then that would suggest the fight wasn't predetermined. However, critics of that view argue that it doesn't completely address the concerns being raised. For them, the controversy is less about the final result and more about the comments, reactions, and circumstances surrounding the matchup. As a result, some viewers have said the fight now feels overshadowed by unanswered questions. Others believe the situation looks more like an attempt to calm concerns before the story grows even larger. Either way, the controversy has clearly affected how many people view the event and the discussion surrounding it. Because once a single fight becomes surrounded by this many questions, it can end up affecting how people view the entire event. Viewers start wondering what was genuine competition, what was entertainment, and whether everything happened exactly the way it appeared. And once those doubts start spreading, they are incredibly difficult to get rid of. That is why a lot of people were not fully satisfied with Adin Ross's explanation. From their perspective, saying the fight could not have been planned simply because the result did not go as expected does not completely address the concerns being discussed online. The debate is not only about who won or lost, it is about the comments made afterward, the unusual sequence of events, and the questions those moments created. At the end of the day, there is still no definitive proof confirming what happened behind the scenes, if anything happened at all. But the combination of the fight itself, Ray J's remarks, and the reactions that followed has left plenty of viewers skeptical. Until more information comes out, people will likely keep debating what really happened and whether the controversy is being overblown or if there is more to the story than meets the eye. What do you think? Was this simply an awkward post-fight moment that got blown out of proportion, or do you believe there are still unanswered questions that deserve a closer look? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.